beautiful. Welcome to Dr. Sarah's Cafe. This is your weekly refill. I am really excited about this week because of the flavor of the week, which is all based on the sun moving into the sign of Virgo and the Aquarius full moon. It is High Vibe Tribe. Yes, High Vibe Tribe. So the high vibes, as well as the tribes, the tribe that is high vibe. You might have heard the phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And so we have very supportive astrology, as well as some tarot ingredients and even some oracle ingredients, oracle cards that are coming together to make up this high vibe tribe flavor of the week. And we're going to start with the astro ingredients, beginning with the Aquarius full moon on the 19th. This is really the tribe element of the flavor of the week. Okay, Aquarius representing the masses, the society, the group, the culture, but also that individuality, right? And so let's dig a little deeper. Aquarius full moon, August 19th, collective of individuals in a thriving ecosystem. Collective of individuals in a thriving ecosystem. So I mentioned a few weeks back in another video that the life, the planet, our societies needs lots of different individuals, lots of different jobs, lots of different purposes and careers and roles in society. It takes all the roles to make society work and function at optimal level. And so if we were all trying to do the same thing, the ecosystem would implode, right? It would not be able to sustain itself. Can you imagine the human body that was just eyes, right? Or the human body that was just a pinky finger, right? So we need the eyes, the nose, the ears, the hair, the fingers, the skin, the heart, the lungs, the blood vessels. We need the variety of components in our physical life, our environment, our biology, and we also need it in our spiritual evolutionary human ecosystem as well, cultural ecosystems. And so Aquarius energy really reminds us that yes, we are a collective. Yes, we're in this together, and we have to remain or retain our individuality in order to help support the thriving of the collective. And so the question we can ask on this full moon is, who are you? And who are your people? Who are you? And who are your people, right? Who are you and who are your people? I know those seem like simple questions. They only have 3 to 4 words in them, but they are very deep questions. And so take some time leading up to this Aquarius full moon to do some journaling around that, okay? Keep in mind that Pluto will be going back into Aquarius for a couple of decades at least. And so that theme, that energy is going to be that much more significant for us individually as well as collectively. Now, what's interesting about this full moon is that there are a few other things happening around that time as well. And so one of them is that Jupiter in Gemini is squaring Saturn retrograde in Pisces also on the 19th. And so I'm calling this the mission and the method. And so thinking about Aquarius being that long-term vision, the future goals that we might have, again, individually as well as collectively, the future, we might have a mission in mind. And Jupiter is like, yes, let's go, let's do it. Like, we know what we want to do, we know where we want to go. And Saturn, the square to Saturn, can help us develop a method. It can help us slow down, think logically and rationally enough that we cultivate a solid, sustainable method for reaching that mission, okay? And then Venus opposite Saturn, we can also see this as sustainable luxury, right? So Venus wants to bring us the beauty, the money, the feel good, the nice things, the sensual experiences, the love. And Saturn is like, okay, but let's make it sustainable. Let's make it last for the long term. And then we also have the sun in Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus. And so I'm calling this a call to unapologetic uniqueness, a call to unapologetic uniqueness. Again, yes, we are part of the collective energy. We are part of society. And society is at its best when each of us is empowered to step fully into our unique authenticity. So I'm recording this just an hour or so after the women's gymnastics all-around competition for the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics in Paris, where Simone Biles won gold. And a lot of the conversations that I've been seeing online around the Olympics is that it's such a display of how there's strength and diversity, right? So all of the women on the podium were women of color: Simone Biles, Rebecca Andrade, and Sunny Lee. They were all three women of color who took gold, silver, and bronze. And I remember growing up and watching gymnastics and feeling so inspired by Dominique Dawes as one of the few women of color representing in that sport. To me, it's an example of how you don't have to look like everyone else. You don't have to talk like everyone else, but your unique lane, your unique zone, your unique strength or skill or gift or passion or love or soul's expression is precisely what we need, what the earth needs as it continues its own evolution and continues to heal itself, right? Okay, so let's look at the other astro ingredient, which is the sun moving into the sign of Virgo. Happy birthday season to any Virgos out there. So there are three general categories that I want to share for those of you who are not as familiar with what Virgo energy, Virgo season might offer to the collective. So even if you're not a Virgo, when the sun is shining the spotlight on Virgo, it amplifies and increases that energy for all of us, okay? So the first thing when we think about Virgo is health. So that includes things like body care, nutrition, doctors, healers. This is such a good energy for going to the doctor, getting your checkups, right? Just improving your overall self-care and wellness when it comes to your physical body, okay? Virgo can also represent the sympathetic nervous system. And this really excites me because online, on social media, I've been seeing a lot more conversations around regulating our nervous systems and having regulated nervous systems as the new cool, right? Like the new way to be, the new focus for current generations that are alive on the planet today. So it's less important to be famous and more important to have a regulated nervous system. It's kind of the zeitgeist of some of the people that I tend to follow and be associated with on social media. And so thinking about, what do you need to be well in Virgo season? What is it that you need to feel well emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, physically, if I haven't said physically already? And so that self-care, but real intentional and substantive self-care, not just escapism, although that could be part of the self-care package, self-care routine, but also the things that actually really make you well, not just things that help you to forget about your problems, but things that actually help you to overcome and heal from those. The other thing when it comes to Virgo is craftsmanship. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the craftsmanship of Virgo. So the details. In the previous weekly refill, I talked about Virgo being the high fashion, like the high fashion designer who pays attention to like the stitching, and not just the stitching, but the quality of the thread that they use to make a particular stitch. I love it. The hemlines, things being so precise and tailored. Virgo energy is also about tailoring things and clothing in general. It's also about workmanship, and service. And this really excites me as we think about that collective energy and we talk about what role do I play in the collective? What role do I play in my community? What role do I play in society? Am I meant to be a mother, right? And just focus on that role. That's my work. That's my service to me, my soul, my family, my community is mothering and nurturing. For others, it could be tending a community garden. My role in this community is to take the best possible care that I can of this community garden, making sure that my neighborhood has access to fresh, healthy fruits and vegetables. For someone else, like your role, your service, your craft might be designing bridges, building buildings or houses, or working in a nursing home, or working in a cafeteria or a soup kitchen, or becoming a politician in your local community. So many ways that we can really lean into our unique zone of genius and show up in that role to serve the larger community, the larger society. And so I'm really excited about Virgo season and this Aquarius full moon helping to align us to that kind of energy. And then the third thing I'll say with Sun and Virgo is studiousness. So I love the fact that Virgo, rules things like bookcases. Oh my gosh, such a nerd, obsessed. If you haven't checked out the bookstore at drsarahscafe.com, then do that. But also things like desks. And maybe I'm just like, my Capricorn moon is like, yes, work, office, desks, bookcases, computers, laptops, notebooks, pens, pencils. I just love it all, right? But things like teaching and just detailed craftsmanship. Again, I think it's interesting how the studiousness and the craftsmanship really reinforce each other. So one of the things that makes you a good craftsman is being a good student of your craft. And so you really study long and hard, you study closely, and that's how you become a master craftsman and able to, again, speaking of Simone Biles, right, being one of the greatest to ever do it, it's the details. When you think about a sport like gymnastics, it's like, did you point your toes? Was there a little wobble on the landing, right? Did you point your fingers, and all the small details? And so that you're able to get to that point in life after study, after work, after, I saw Simone Biles post on social media saying, I'm back doing what I love. It's hard work, but she is doing what she loves, and the smile on her face when she was performing that last routine for the all around, so full of joy and excitement and the reward of that hard work. So Aquarius full moon, Sun moving into the sign of Virgo, we can show up in service through expressing our passions, the work that we love to do that lights us up inside, as people say, and really get good at it. Use this Virgo season to level up your skills, to go back to basics, to take another class in your field, or maybe you become a teacher. Maybe you help others, and through that teaching of other people with less experience, you also level up in that way as well. So the Sun moving into Virgo is the vibe, particularly the high vibe energy of this flavor of the week, okay? And you'll notice in the bottom right hand of the screen, I have some swag, some merch, my usual zodiac sign series that I've done with high Virgo vibes on mugs, t-shirts, bags, pillows, that sort of thing. And so since it's Virgo season, I'm highlighting the high Virgo vibes design, but I have designs for all the other zodiac signs as well. So be sure to check those out at drsarahscafe.com/boutique. The tarot ingredients, we have the 8 of Wands. And it's interesting because in this particular depiction, the 8 of Wands is shown with birds. And that's not at all the case in every depiction of the 8 of Wands. But here we had the 8 of Wands with 3 birds. And so, of course, when we think about the flavor of the week being the high vibe tribe, birds of a feather flock together. The cliche that has a lot of truth behind it, okay? So, birds of a feather flock together. Are you hanging around people who vibrate at the same frequency that you want to, or that you intend to vibrate at? Right? Do you spend your time around other people, talking to other people, having conversations with other people that match what you say you want for your life, that match the dream, the vision? Again, Aquarius full moon, that long-term vision that you have for your life or for your family or community. Are you connecting yourself with other people who align with that kind of vibration? And that's really important. And remembering that you have choice and agency when it comes to those things. So other things with the 8 of Wands, especially as it relates to our theme, the high vibe tribe, together we become a force. Together we become a force and a movement. Together we become a force and a movement. So the 8 of Wands is that forward momentum, forward movement, making progress. I call it the whirlwind book tour. It's like after a traffic jam clears up and you're able to accelerate back to normal speed and drive unimpeded, uninhibited. It's like that forward movement. But when we take all of our forward movement, when we combine our collective momentum, we become a movement. And that with the Aquarius full moon, right? that Aquarius full moon, it's about the collective, the masses, especially since the moon itself represents the collective, represents the people, in the sign of the people. This Eight of Wands to me is giving movement, right? A collective movement. And then the third thing I want to say about this tarot ingredient is, who are the people you have the most edifying conversations with? Because the Eight of Wands is communication, especially communication from a distance. So like emails and text messages or phone calls or even Zoom calls, right? Who do you talk to that raises the vibration? Okay, so those are some things to keep in mind. And then our third ingredient comes from the Oracle of the Seven Energies. It is number 16 and the Royal You. Key concepts here: sovereignty, responsibility, self-confidence, self-rule, ownership of your feelings and actions, a quiet sense of empowerment, being self-aware, not allowing outside influences out of alignment with your truth. Okay, and so for me, this represents the high vibe tribe. A tribe that is really high vibe allows you to retain your own sense of sovereignty. Just gonna let that sit and linger. If you're part of a group or a dynamic or an organization that insists you conform, that insists you hide or suppress important parts of yourself and your identity, it's not your people. Those aren't your people. That's not your tribe. It's definitely not a high vibe tribe, okay? So high vibe tribe means that everyone who comes into that space is able to and encouraged and supported in maintaining their own sense of identity, their own sense of worth and value, their own sense of self-confidence, right? And so that's one of the things you want to look for when you're feeling out or attracting in your high vibe tribe. And a little more here with this oracle card. I want to read a little more. Do you know what it means to express personal sovereignty in your life? It's about how you hold to your inner sense of worth and integrity, secure in your belief that you have a unique purpose. It's about being comfortable in your own skin, knowing who you are, and that nothing outside you can challenge your authentic self, the hard-won seat of awareness that you have earned. You are the ruler of your mind, and you're being invited now to consider what discipline you need to apply to your thoughts. Are they consistent with the values and beauty you intend for your life? Now, I want to say here that this oracle card reminds us that sometimes the pressure, the peer pressure, comes from within, right? I think initially it comes from without, but if we've internalized it, we can sort of limit ourselves. We can hide. And what we tell people is, you can't attract your true match, your true partner, if you aren't really being who you are. But the same is true for friendships and your tribe, your people, your community. Those who resonate the most with the authentic, true, sincere, genuine version of who you are won't be able to find you if you aren't letting that shine through. Okay, so yes, we fear rejection. We've been told these social scripts that we have to follow, but we'll never feel that true belonging, that true sense of connection, if we don't allow ourselves to show up and be honest about who we are, and to be vulnerable in that way, to say, this is the truth of who I really am, and I'm opening myself up to resonate with and vibrate with others who are on the same wavelength. Okay, like the tuning forks, right? Like you vibrate your little tuning fork, and everything else in the environment vibrating at that same frequency is going to come into harmony. For this week's pastry and poetry segment, we have a piece by Rita Dove, who is a Virgo, and the pastry is apple crisp. Okay, apple crisp, love it. Used to love it, eat it up in middle school and high school. I used to ask my friends in the cafeteria, hey, do you want your apple crisp? Because I will eat it if you do not. So we have apple crisp, delicious dessert, and the featured poet, a Virgo. for Virgo season, Rita Dove. I believe her birthday is August 28th, I think. And the name of this poem is The Other Side of the House. The Other Side of the House. And I'm reading from Grace Notes. And the image of Rita Dove is from the book jacket here. Rita Dove! Yay! Okay, so Grace Notes. The Other Side of the House by Rita Dove. The epigraph says, but it wasn't a dream. It was a place. And you, and you, and you, and you were there. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I walk out the kitchen door, trailing extension cords into the open gaze of the southwest. The green, surreptitious, dusty like a trench coat. From the beautiful lawnmower float curls of evaporated gasoline. The hinged axe of the butterfly pauses. Where am I in this stingy desert broom? Where in the blank soul of the olive? I hear the sand preparing to flee. Many still moments aligned repair the thin split of an afternoon. Its orange fiction, the dim aggression of my daughter on the terrace, drawing her idea of home. Somewhere, I learned to walk out of a thought and not snap back the way railroad cars telescope into a train. The sand flies so fast it leaves no shadow. The Other Side of the House. I liked this poem as an example of a Virgo poet because of the attention to details. Details like the hinged axe of the butterfly pauses. Oh, such beautiful imagery, such beautiful metaphor and simile. Not simile, but metaphor. The hinged axe of a butterfly pauses. From the beautiful lawnmower float curls of evaporated gasoline. It's just a beautiful picture of everyday mundane things like a lawnmower. And that's the beauty of poetry. And particularly a Virgoan poet who has a keen eye to the details of everyday life that make them or help us to perceive them as poetic. And for your to-go or takeaway affirmation, my loves, I cultivate the courage to be me among the we. I cultivate the courage to be me among the we. My dears, I pray that this has helped you to refill your spiritual cup, and I hope to see you in another video. Take care.